What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am back again with another video, and as y'all can tell from the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I think is very, very essential for when you're first starting the game and when you're playing throughout the game, and that is creating and making a good base. Now, to be honest, a base layout can make or break how your experience goes. Having a good base layout is extremely important, and in this video, I'm going to tell y'all guys the best things y'all can do for your base to make it the best base that it possibly can be. If you guys do enjoy, be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe. Almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is honestly just kind of crazy to say. So thank you guys so much for the support. If you guys do enjoy, subscribe. It's free. You can always change your mind later. So there's really no reason not to. Anyway, with all that said, let's get right into the video. So when you're designing your base, there's three kind of really big key points you need to think of when you're designing it. The flow of the base, the rateability of the base, and the look of the base. I'll go into depth on each. Starting out, the flow of the base. You need to make sure each room has a door to whichever other room you can get out of. So if you're in one room, you will want the fastest route to the other room. So make sure that the room you're in will have a fastest route to the other room. And what I mean by that is if there's a really big room, don't have just one door to leave that you have to exit that door and then go to the other side of where that room is to get to the other room. Have multiple doors if it's a really big room, so you can just go through it straight to where you need to be, because that will, in the long run, save you quite a bit of time. Also, make sure that you keep similar things together, like keep your wood by your woodworking bench. So if you're trying to turn wood logs into wood planks, you'll have a chest full of planks, and your chest full of logs, you just throw the planks into the wood bench and then take the planks and put them in your chest, and it's as simple as that. Also, the stuff that you'll need a lot, I think you need to keep them closest to kind of like your main exit. What you'll have is you'll definitely have like your main exit portion of the base, most likely where your garage is if you have your chopper. I definitely have the stuff that you use more, kind of more so gravitated towards that part of the base, so you can just grab all your stuff and run on the chopper whenever you're ready to leave. Also, this is a really big thing that I recommend a lot. If you can, have a dump chest. So if you're grinding, say you go clear out bunker alpha, and you go home, you don't have to go organizing everything in your inventory. You can put it in this chest and go back out to do another location, and then when you're done with like your locations for the day, you can take all the loot in that dump chest and then organize it. This is something that has helped me save a lot of time and energy and made me a lot less frustrated at the game, so it's definitely something that I recommend y'all do. And then another thing, there's a lot more room for your base than you really need. So with that being said, don't make everything super far from each other. Don't have like your wood area in the top left corner of the base and then your main part of the base on the bottom right, because then you're in your main part of your base, you need wood, you're going all the way to the other side of the base for wood, and that is going to be very inconvenient. And then lastly, kind of with the flow, is make sure you have like a main central area, like a heart, a core of your base, where you have basically everything you'd use on the daily. What I recommend is like your guns, your armor, your meds, basically stuff that you'll need pretty much no matter wherever you go. And then with that core being kind of closer, like I said earlier, towards the exit to help the flow. Second, kind of most importantly, I have rateability. This is something I wish I designed better with my base, because I only had one layer of honeycomb, but I definitely do recommend having 2 to 3 layers of honeycomb, with the inner layer being stone or steel, and then the outer layer being a level 2 wall, and then the outer layer being a level 1 wall. Because the way raids work, the raiders are AI, and they will break a certain amount of walls based on their difficulty, so they'll probably break 15 level 1 walls, 5 level 2 walls, and then maybe a stone wall if you have a good bait chest, which I'll get to in a second. But if you have all of that, then it's almost guaranteed that your inner part of the base where all your good stuff is will never be broken into if you have enough honeycomb. And what I mean by honeycomb is just layers, like a ring of 1x1 rooms. They're pretty cheap to make if you just do a bunch of doors, so you can just go straight through them. And then, like I said earlier with the core, like I said, your core would be where all your stuff is, your weapons, your armor, your meds, all the important stuff. So I'd make sure that before you start raiding, you have at least level 3, preferably level 4, so you can ensure that none of that gets broken into or stolen. And then also another thing for designing your base, which I think a lot of beginners do that really endgame players don't: spike traps, wire traps, noise traps. They don't do anything. They are really useless. They'll just be a waste of your resources, waste of room. I don't recommend them at all, because they are, to be honest, kind of useless. Unless The spike trap is useful if you're trying to kill yourself, but in terms of designing your base, the spike trap is useless. Like I mentioned a second ago, it's important to have good bait loot, because if the bait loot is good, then the raiders aren't going to spend too much time getting into other parts of your base. So what I recommend is at every base there is a broken down truck, which you can use as your bait chest, which I recommend doing because it saves you another chest you can use for organization. And what I recommend putting in there is mostly electronic circuits or aluminum bars, because those are items the raiders value a lot that aren't really that valuable. So say you have 2 aluminum bars. If you're like me, I have a bunch of aluminum. You throw 2 in there and the raiders will take that, and it pretty much guarantees you revenge raid too, and it guarantees they won't break into a bigger part of your base. So make sure you have a good bait chest. If you don't have any loot in your bait chest, odds are they will get to the main part of your base. So make sure you have a good bait chest. And then lastly, make sure you have a good visual appeal. You don't want your base to be ugly to look at, because this will be the base for the rest of your time playing the game. You don't want it to be fucking ugly. I've seen bases that are just a big block of 1x1 doors with chests in them, and yeah, it's efficient, I guess, but at the same time there's no personality. It's just a soulless base. And then another thing about decorating is, I do think I've mentioned before that as of now furniture is kind of useless. I think it is good to have some furniture like scattered across rooms to give rooms more personality. Just because you have a bunch of furniture doesn't mean you have to use all of it. Just use what fits. And then something else that I recommend is, if you've been playing the game for a while, make sure you have like a trophy room, so you can put furniture and rewards and stuff in there, like your mannequins, your weapon cases, so you can put them in there and show them off. And then finally, kind of a bonus tip, which isn't one of the things for the 3, but if you're just starting the game or you're just starting to do a big base design, plan it out. Take a piece of paper, a big grid piece of paper, and plan out what each thing of your base is going to be. So you can write out, I want this room here, this room here, this room here, this room here, this is what the honeycomb is going to be. Because if you just go into it blind, then you will not know what you're doing. If you plan it out, you write it down, and you know what you're doing going into it, the base will turn out so much better. The building process is going to be a lot better. It'll end up cheaper in the end, because if you don't know this, if you break a wall, it won't give you the same resources back. So say you put 10 steel into a steel wall, you break it, it'll give you 6 steel. So make sure you know what you're doing before you place it, because in the long run it will save you a lot more materials than just having to break walls. And that's the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, if you did, please be sure to subscribe. Almost at 1,000, so be sure to stick around. I have a bunch of videos planned out, and I'm honestly really excited about the next few wave of videos I have coming out, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Anyway, y'all, I hope this helped. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Even if it's not about your base, if it's about any question in the game in general, leave them down below. I will answer. Also, as always, link for the Discord in the description. Be sure to click and check that out. Anyway, y'all, that is all for me. Hope you guys all have an amazing rest of y'all's day. I'm out. Peace.